Now here's an unusual race between a bus, 2 cars, 2 pedestrians. And they're off. And I think the yellow car is winning hands down, with the bus and the pedestrian a bad last. Very interesting little toys. Basically, they're just marble trundles, which means that they're powered by marbles inside them. A simple paper box with a marble, or if you can get it, a ball bearing. And to make sure they work, of course, get a smooth table at a slight slope. And they scoot down like mad. Well, how do you make them? Very easily. Get a thickish paper, or thinnish cardboard. Thickish paper is better. And you just fold it into a box and cut a hole in the bottom so that the marble can roll along through that hole. And any box, of course, will come down to be 6 sides, rather like a cross. There we are. That's the shape. Fold the sides up, the back up, and the front and the top over, and with little tabs on it, you've got yourself the shape of that car. And down on the bottom, you cut a hole so that the marble can show. But when you make this, make sure it's only just large enough to retain the marble or the ball bearing you use. Make it too big, and the marble will rattle around inside and it won't run properly. But if you do that properly, you can see that the marble just fits inside, can't escape through the hole. There's not enough cardboard for the marble to run onto the edge and stop running, and it'll work very beautifully indeed. So that's the little car. For the bus, it's slightly longer. Never use 2 marbles, they go sideways if you do. And this being longer has a longer slit, and it's a bit more sluggish because some of it drags along the ground, but it runs pretty well anyway. What about the pedestrian? He's basically a cone. And to make a cone, you start with a circle, and here's how you do it. First of all, get a circle like this, a dish or something, put it on your paper and draw around the base. You can use compasses, but a dish is fine. And make sure it's several times bigger than the marble you're going to use. Well, if you cut that out, you'll end up with a disc about that size. And a cone is basically a third of a circle, or a third of a disc. So cut yourself into the centre, 1 slice there, and round here about a third of the circle like an enormous piece of pizza. Throw the rest away or keep it to make other trundles. Now if you curl that round one way, like that, and then the other way, you'll find that folding is very much easier. Because to make a cone you have to fold that so one edge overlaps the other, and then you glue it into position. And if you do that, it'll come up rather like this. Notice that's quite a large cone. For an ordinary size marble, it's actually too big, so you pop the marble in there as a guide, and then you can trim the cone down till you're about 1 centimetre away from the edge of the marble. That gives you enough working room, but doesn't make the cone too big. Now you want to cut tabs in it, so you end up with something like the turrets in a castle. Make an even number of cuts and cut out every second turret. If you do that, you'll end up with tabs rather like this. Transfer the marble, and that's the result you want. Now you can fold those tabs over. 4 of them is enough. Put a daub of glue on each, and use a quick drying glue, otherwise you'll be sitting there for hours, and glue onto that a little bit of cardboard, like that. If you hold it there till it's dry, you can then trim off around the edge of that card, and because it's on there and the marble's inside already, you can use the marble as a guide in cutting the hole in the middle to make sure the hole isn't so large that the marble comes out. When you're finished, you get that result. A marble that can't come through that hole, but a cone which isn't too large in comparison to the size of the marble. And it'll trundle very well. Of course, if you want to, you can start with an existing box. A toothpaste pack is quite good. Cut the end off, fold it over, cut the hole underneath it, and you'll end up with that sort of result, a ready-made trundle. But it's a bit heavy, it doesn't run as well as the ones you make yourself. And not as much fun either.